Hi, my name is Krista Jack, and I'm the president of the Lakeville Chamber of Commerce. And today we are bringing you another CCDC short. And the CCDC shorts are brought to you by the Chamber Coalition of Dakota County, which is in partnership with the Apple Valley, Burnsville, Lakeville, Hastings, and River Heights Chambers of Commerce. And I'm very excited to welcome Beth Cadoon from the Minnesota Chamber. Beth is the Vice President of Tax and Fiscal Policy for the Minnesota Chamber. So as you can tell, today we are going to talk about taxes. And so Beth, thank you very much for being here.
Yeah, thank you. I always appreciate the invite from our great local chamber partners.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, Beth, we have got 5 questions that we're going to talk about. We want to get it done in as close to 5 minutes as we can. So we are just going to dive right in into this for our businesses. So can you give us an overview of the top tax legislation proposals that business need to know about that are being discussed right now?
Sure. Yeah, it's surprising we're even talking about tax increases, right? We have a $17.5 billion surplus for the state. And then also we have a structural surplus, over $5 billion in the tails. But here we are, we're talking about tax increases. So the top ones I think businesses need to be concerned about is there was one on corporate tax provision. So we're can talk about that, I think, in your next question or two a little more. But that is one where it would be an extreme tax outlier where no other state or country has this reporting requirement for our multinational companies. The other one would be a new 5th-tier individual income tax rate increase, where our rate would now be 10.85%. That would be 4th highest in the nation, just below California, Hawaii, and New York. Hits a lot of businesses, so really worried about that one. Governor also has a capital gains tax increase proposed, is his proposal. So that would be capital gains on top of our individual income tax rate. We treat capital gains the same as any other income currently. And that would be a new rate increase of 11.35% for capital gains above 500,000. And then above $1 million, it would actually be 13.85%, which would be the highest in the nation. There's also tax increases going through with the paid leave proposal, that 24-week paid leave. That would be a 0.7% payroll tax imposed on all employers and employees, as well as a lot of tax increases moving forward on the transportation bill. Like for Lakeville, it would be a new 1% increase in the sales tax for the metro area. So that would bring Lakeville's rate from 7.125% to 8.125%. So those are kind of the main ones that are moving forward right now.
So a lot of those to unpack, Beth. And so again, yeah, so who are these going to affect? All businesses, certain businesses? I know there's a lot of them, so it might be a little different for each.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think the tax provisions really will vary depending on what type of business you are, the size of your business, et cetera. So for that corporate tax change, which would be a mandatory worldwide combined reporting, it would impact multinationals. So those doing business in other countries, as well as businesses that might be are located in Minnesota, but they have a foreign ownership, right? Which we have over 900 of those businesses in the state. We have a lot of ownership from foreign investors, which is really important. So those would be the ones impacted under that capital or the corporate tax provision. 5th tier would impact a lot of pass-through entities, right? Those bigger companies that are paying their taxes through their individual income tax. So that's who gets hit with that, as well as wealthier households. And then capital gains, it tends to be, that's going to be probably hit more when your smaller businesses are looking to sell, the farmers looking to kind of sell and retire. That's their income they're going to use for their retirement. And now they'd be paying the highest tax rate in the nation. So those are the ones that would get impacted with those. Obviously, payroll tax will hit everybody, right? Mm-hmm. And then transportation will hit a lot of businesses. About half of the businesses where the sales tax currently paid is paid by businesses. So they would get hit with an additional cost on a lot of their business inputs.
Okay, so Beth, then why are these taxes being proposed? Why are we talking about these?
Right. Yeah. So the first I mentioned, the corporate, the 5th tier, and the capital gains, this is all going to be going into the general fund, right? And that's the one where we have this very large budget surplus. So really surprising that they're looking at this. They don't need to. But the reality is they're looking to really put a lot more into spending, into government programs, into doing some other tax relief, really targeted more to low income. And so they're looking for revenue to be able to do that. And so that's why we have those tax increases at play, is really to fund kind of what they're looking at as a 40% increase in spending for the general fund. So really historic growth in spending that we're looking at. On the transportation side, right, that's more, they want to see how they can fix the roads and bridges and get money there. So they were looking for more revenue sources. Politically, they didn't think they could go down the gas tax path. So that's why they're looking at these other types of revenue. I forgot to mention delivery fees, another one they're looking at, which is 75 cents on delivery. So if you're a company that does any sort of deliveries to consumers or businesses, you would be paying 75 cents on each of those deliveries. So another one I forgot. So
Okay.
looking for sources there. And then obviously the payroll tax is to fund that new 24-week paid leave mandate program for paid leave for employees. And so that's how they're funding that is through a payroll tax, which they also call a premium, but it really is a payroll tax.
Okay, and we know that these are flying through pretty quick. So when, are we expecting most of these to pass? And if so, when would they begin?
Right, so there's only 2.5 weeks left of session. So May 22nd is the constitutional adjournment date. So we expect the tax bill just passed the Senate yesterday. They'll do conference committees, which will start in the next couple days, and they'll probably have to wrap up, frankly, all the work within, I think, a week or 10 days on these conference committees. So paid leave, for example, passed yesterday in the House. We expect the Senate probably will take it up this week. So those decisions will get made, how you, because they're a little different between both those bodies. So they'll get to a conference committee. Same thing with the transportation bill. They're also in conference committee right now. All those decisions are really going to be made in the next probably 10 days. So moving very quickly at this point.
Okay, and then once those are made, are they going into effect? Is it again tiered of going into effect? I mean, would anything still be this year, or are we looking of when they would implement?
Yeah, the implementation dates will vary on all of these, right? So some of the payroll or some of the tax increases won't take effect till next tax year. So they'll have time to get things in place. For the paid leave program, that has a longer lag time, where the payroll tax, for example, I don't think is supposed to take effect till July 1 of 2025, but I think that date is still kind of in play. So other tax increases might take effect a little sooner. I think the sales tax one would be this August, I believe. So they'll all vary on kind of their implementation dates, but these decisions aren't final yet. So there's still opportunities, obviously, to weigh in and see how we can improve some of these so it's not so detrimental to our business community.
Which ties perfectly into my last question, Beth, is right, with 2.5 weeks, there's not a lot of time left. For those that don't know, all of your local chambers, we are members of the Minnesota Chamber, and you are an amazing support and our voice up at the Capitol each and every day. And you all work so hard in your various areas. What, from this point, if we're looking at a couple weeks left to go, what is it that you need to hear from businesses, whether it be feedback, stories, facts and figures? What is still left to be shared that we can share with you?
Yeah, I think it's still important to reach out. Like I said, this new corporate provision is pretty new. So I don't know if legislators have really heard much from their local communities. And I'm guessing if you look, you probably have some companies that are impacted. So this would be the time to weigh in with your local legislators, as well as the governor's office and legislative leaders on impacts on that proposal. Like I said, where we would be the only state in the nation to do this, and there's no other country that does this. So there really will be, I think, a big backlash from our U.S. trading partners on that provision, undermining investment and growth in our state. Important one to weigh in on that. Same thing to be talking about the cumulative impact, right? So now we're seeing all these things moving through that all could be taking effect and be passed. So that's the other thing to relay that message, which is, okay, maybe I can, handle one of these taxes, but when you keep adding them on, it really will, be harmful to my ability to grow my business here in the state and to, provide more benefits for my employees and the other things you might be able to do with those dollars if they weren't going to these increased taxes.
Okay. So again, as Beth said, if you are a business and you're watching this and you're not sure, reach out to your local chamber, ask us. We can help walk you through some of that. We can connect you to the Minnesota Chamber. There's opportunities to share your stories in different ways. So make sure that, time is of the essence, right? With a couple weeks left. So Beth, I don't know, we might have gone a little bit over 5 minutes. But you had a lot to cover. I gave you a pretty tall order of a lot to cover in a very short amount of time. And I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to explain this and start to lay it out so that those businesses that want to can look into it a little bit further. And again, thank you to our coalition partners of Apple Valley, Burnsville, Hastings, and River Heights. If you can watch, obviously rewatch this if you need to, and watch any of our other shorts on either through your local chamber or through our YouTube channel or our social media for the Chamber Coalition. So Beth, again, thank you so much for being here. And thanks to our members for watching. And please let us know how we can support you all. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.